Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Sheena. We're glad to have you here with us today, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar on resilience, a path to a stronger self, organized by the MA Wellness Counselling Department of Nirmala Institute of Education, Altinho. Just a few instructions before we begin. I'd like to request all participants to kindly ensure that their mics are muted and their cameras are turned off during the course of the webinar. This is just to ensure that we have a smooth and uninterrupted session. So again, please ensure that your cameras are turned off and your mics are muted. Um, During the webinar, in case you have any questions, you can type it in the chat box. Please enter it there and it will be picked up and given to our speaker. A feedback link will also be sent towards the end of the session. So if you have any problems with that, you can message any of the admins in our WhatsApp group or send us an email. You'll have the details in the chat box. After you fill up the feedback form, you will receive a certificate as well. Yes. All right. I'd now like to call upon Jivanchu to introduce our speaker for today.
As the year draws to a close and we ready our new list of resolutions for the new year, we are sure to look back on this year and find at least one thing, if not more, that we have gained. We are sure to realize that through all the dark, scary days, we have persevered. We may have fallen down and gotten hurt and lost a few battles, but we have persevered to get here. And today's webinar is in a way a tribute to that perseverance. Today's webinar, Resilience, a path to a stronger self, is about trying to consciously bring about and stabilize that perseverance in our lives in the toughest of times. Our guest speaker today, Samir Cuncolkar, is a wellness alumni who has worked with an NGO, Gunvati Jagannath Kapoor Foundation. He was based at the Tata Memorial Hospital and has seen loss at close quarters in his work as a cancer patient guidance counselor. He believes that everyone has in them an innate capacity to heal and not just survive, but reach their own unique highest potential. Samir currently takes up individual therapy sessions, and it is his love for creativity, curiosity, and connection with people that drives him to keep striving for excellence in this field. We welcome you, Samir.
Uh, Thank you so much for that beautiful intro, Juvenchi. Yes, I truly believe that each of us have capacity to heal, no matter what kind of, no matter how difficult experience or adversity we have gone through. And today we are going to learn about resilience, which also is part of healing process. And each of us have gone through a lot of suffering, different degrees of suffering, and you know, uh, and resilience can help us heal. So let me ask you a question. Uh, Let me put on my slides first. So I want to ask a question to you all. So are we really the victims of reality, having no choice or control over our suffering, or are we conscious creators of our life, having some degree of choice or control over our suffering? I want you to keep this question in the back of your mind as we try to understand resilience. So why do we need resilience? We need resilience. First of all, we need resilience to overcome the adverse childhood experience that we have gone through, uh, be it abuse or physical or neglect or emotional abuse. We need resilience to overcome uh, this negative experience that we have gone through, and we need resilience to take charge of our adulthood, to overcome from this negative experience and to take charge of our adulthood. We need resilience to stir through the day-to-day stressors that we go through. The stressors in the form of uh, the work stressors, the family stressors, conflict with boss, conflict with the spouse or friends. Uh, we need resilience to handle those stressors. Thirdly, we need resilience to bounce back from life-changing events. Uh, these events could be, loss of parent, loss of a child, accident, or any illness like cancer. We need resilience to bounce back from these adverse experiences that have, that have tendency to change the course of our life. So these three needs are basically reactive needs. We need resilience to protect ourselves, and so so that's where these three things come in. But lastly, the fourth need, that is to reach out. We need resilience to reach our fullest potential, to take on all the challenges in the pursuit of our goal. We need resilience to reach our fullest capacity, and to achieve all the goals in our life. So, so let's try to understand what resilience is. So resilience is basically your ability to it's not an ability, it's a process by which you adapt to trauma, to threat, or to any adverse experience. Like I discussed before, it's our ability to stir through the stressors and adapt to those stressors. Not just adapt, but also to bounce back from those negative experiences. And uh, secondly, resilience is ordinary. Okay, each of us have some degree of resilience, and collective trauma like that of pandemic that we're going through right now. This actually shows how this actually shows how well we have how we have adapted in the face of this collective trauma. There is death, there is confusion, there is a lot of uncertainty, yet we have adapted, and some of us are still adapting, and some of us, some have even reached out and helped others, bounce back from the negative experience, and have also reached out to help others. And lastly, resilience is not a trait. It's not something that you have or don't have. It is set of behaviors, actions, and thoughts that you can actually cultivate and learn. Okay, and so it is not a trait. So we can learn it. And today we are going to learn how to cultivate this resilient mindset. So, how to cultivate a resilient mindset? So, these are the four steps or four ways in which you can cultivate resilience. And this is something that I designed based on the research and understanding that is current research and understanding in the field of resilience. The first three steps or first three quadrants, accept, attend, and adjust, talks about what you can internally do in order to address adversity or trauma. And the last step, attach and reach out, talks about how you can you know take in the external resources and build resilience. So let's look at the first step. Accept the conditions of reality. So what are these conditions of reality? Firstly, suffering is a common humanity. So what do I mean by that? So let me tell you a story. So this is a story from Buddhist tradition. There was this woman named Kisama Gautami. She lost her child suddenly. You know, 1-year-old child, firstborn, and but she was not ready to accept that the child was dead. She took the body of the child and went to the streets and started asking people to, give some medicine to help the child, help revive this child, cure this child. But no one could help her. Someone asked her to go to Buddha. He told her, Buddha can help you with this. And she went to Buddha, and she Buddha didn't deny her experience. Buddha didn't say, uh, uh, that didn't force her to accept the death of the child. Buddha instead said, "Okay, let me help you. I can help you here. I can help uh, you with this." He said, but first you'll have to do one thing. Uh, you'll have to get a mustard seed from a house that has not known death, and you get this mustard seed and I'll help you. So so she was thrilled, and she went out back into the village. She went from one house to another house, but she couldn't find a single house which had not known death. And so she couldn't get those mustard seeds. But instead, she learned something. She learned that suffering, grief, death is part of life, that each of us go through suffering, and that this is something that we cannot avoid. It's intertwined with what it means to be human. And when she realized this truth, she she was no longer alone. She was no longer uh, uh, isolated, and this helped her bury her child. And uh, so what we learn from this experience is that all of us have known some degree of suffering, some degree of grief. And grief is not just about losing a child or losing uh, a loved one. Grief can also come from losing a relationship. Grief can also come uh, from an illness, or from uh, from grief can come from losing vitality or functioning as a result of illness or even old age. So so we need to accept this condition of reality. Secondly, what we need to uh, understand is our thoughts, our feelings, all these things are impermanent. That these things keep on changing. Our thoughts, our feelings keep on changing. The positive experiences, the negative experiences that we go through, they also change. And the only thing that is permanent is change, and we need to accept this condition as well. Thirdly, what we need to accept is the degree of control we have on situations. So let's try to look at this much deeply. So here we have a circle of control, influence, and concern. This was designed by Stephen Covey. Uh, so, according to this model, our circumstances or our adversities, we can uh, put them in these. We can uh, distribute it in these three circles, and so in circle of control, we have our thoughts, our behaviors, our reactions. We have direct control only on these aspects: our thoughts, our feelings, our reactions, and uh, we don't have as much direct control on what other people actions are, what other people's thoughts are, but we can influence to some degree what other people's think. We can influence the actions of our friends, or we can influence the actions of our child. So these are the things that we don't have direct control, but we can influence. And lastly, there are things that are, that we don't have any direct control or influence, but and these are things that are outside of our control, like death, getting an illness like cancer, or past decisions, pandemic. As an individual, we don't have direct control on it. And so if you a doctor, you might say that, okay, I can influence the survivorship of an individual by, by giving a certain therapy or treatment, and thereby I can influence death as well. So, or if you are a government agent, you might say, okay, I can control pandemic by making changes in the policy, or making, doing more research. Uh, and so, but these are the things we can do as a society. But as an individual, uh, all we can do is, focus on things that are in our direct control. So for example, if we take the example of the pandemic itself, at individual level, what I can do is I can, take preventive measures, like wearing a mask, or sanitize, using sanitizer, in order to prevent from getting that illness. Or in terms of cancer, what you can do is take preventive measures of not engaging in behaviors that would directly lead to cancer, like smoking, or tobacco consumption, and making changes in lifestyle changes. So we have direct control on that, and through that we can, by taking those preventive measures, we can to some extent control the uh, control, sort of avoid the illness. And and we have some degree of control on some degree of influence on what other people, uh, on other people's actions, like that of our friends and our colleagues. So we can tell them to take the similar preventive measures. So resilience uh, is about knowing your where your control lies in, and focusing your efforts on the things that you can control and influence, and not as much worry about things that are beyond your control, the weather, the death, your past behaviors or choices. So focus on things that are within your control and influence. Uh, so uh, so accepting those were the three conditions of accepting the reality. So accepting might not be sufficient, right? We need to, so we are having a, if we are going through an adverse experience, we are having a lot of negative, uh, difficult emotions and experiences that we are going through. So secondly, what we need is to bring mindful compassion to our own self. We need to bring mindful compassion. So what do I mean by bringing mindful compassion to ourselves? So mindfulness uh, is your ability to be present to whatever you are experiencing in here and now without judging your experience or without trying to criticize it, just being present to whatever you are experiencing in here and now. And compassion is about bringing warmth and understanding. Self compassion is about bringing warmth and self understanding when you are, going through difficult experience or failure, or when you're going through, when you're feeling inadequate, being kind to your own self. And but what do we do when we, in actuality, what do we really do when we faced with an adverse experience? We generally have a tendency to, push our experience. We try to deny our experience. We push away negative emotions, and criticize ourselves for for mistakes that we make. So instead of criticizing ourselves, instead of trying to push away our negative experiences, we what we need to do is to turn towards our negative experiences and feelings. So this is where mindfulness and compassion comes into play. Uh, so I invite you to look at this image. Here there is this woman who is going through grief, and she says, uh, I sit with my grief, I mother it. Mothering means bringing warmth and kindness, and I hold its hot hand. So she's not denying that this is a difficult experience. This is a hot, difficult experience. She's, attending it as it is. Uh, Next, she's saying, I don't shush it. I don't say it's okay. So I'm being non-judgmental, and I'm being open to that whatever I'm experiencing as it is, and I wait until it's done having feeling. I create space for that feeling. Then I stand up, and we go on to do our routine. So this is an example of how you bring mindful compassion to yourself, and this is how you be on your side. This is how, and and but most of us have tendency to, we have learned to be compassionate towards others. If our friend is going through a tough experience, we'll be supportive, will be sympathetic towards them, but we don't bring that same kind of attitude towards our own self. And and but that is exactly what we need to do. So whenever you are going through difficult experience, and you are finding it difficult to deal with your emotions, ask yourself, what what would I say to a friend who is going through same experience? you know uh, can I uh, hold that same kind of attitude towards my own self? Can I bring that same kind of sympathy, kindness to my own experience? And yes, so so now let's try to practice self-compassion. So I'll play a small uh, compassion meditation, compassion-based meditation. I invite you all to sit comfortably and to close your eyes if you wish. If you wish to, you can close your eyes, and so we'll be recalling some struggle that we are going through right now.
This practice is called the self-compassion break, and it's something you can do anytime during the day or at night when you need a little self-compassion. So to practice this exercise, we actually need to call up a little suffering. So I'd invite you to think about a situation in your life right now that is difficult for you. Maybe you're feeling stress, or you're having a relationship problem, or you're worried about something that might happen. I'd invite you to think of something that is difficult, but not overwhelmingly difficult, especially if you're new to practicing the self-compassion break. So finding a situation and getting in touch with it. What's going on? What happened? What might happen? Who said what? Really bring the situation to life in your mind's eye. And then I'm going to be saying a series of phrases that are designed to help us remember the three components of self-compassion when we need it most. So the first phrase is, this is a moment of suffering. Right? We're bringing mindful awareness to the fact that suffering is present. And I'd invite you to find some language that speaks to you. Something like, this is really hard right now. Or, I'm really struggling. We're actually turning toward our difficulty, acknowledging it, naming it. This is a moment of suffering. The second phrase is, suffering is a part of life. Okay, we're reminding ourselves of our common humanity. Suffering is a part of life. And again, finding language that speaks to you. It may be something like, it's not abnormal to feel this way. Many people are going through similar situations. Right? The degree of suffering may be different, the flavor of suffering may be different, but suffering is a part of life, part of being human. And then the third phrase is, may I be kind to myself in this moment. And to support bringing kindness to yourself, I'd invite you to perhaps put your hands over your heart or some other place on your body that feels soothing and comforting. Feeling the warmth of your hands, the gentle touch. Letting those feelings of care stream through your fingers. May I be kind to myself. And using any language that supports that sense of kindness. Perhaps language you would use with a good friend you cared about who was going through a very similar situation. You know, it may be something like, I'm here for you. going to be okay. I care about you. You can even try using a diminutive if that feels comfortable. You know, "Oh, darling, I'm so sorry." Or you can try calling yourself by your first name. Anything that feels natural to express your deep wish that you be well and happy and free from suffering. And then letting go of the practice and noticing how your body feels right now. Allowing any sensations to be just as they are. Allowing yourself to be just as you are in this moment.
So coming back to the present moment. So this is how you bring mindfulness, mindful self-compassion to your own self. And so, and so, so we attend ourselves with mindful compassion, and attending and adjustment is something that goes hand in hand. You know, we attend our negative experiences with compassion, and we also need to attend to the perceptions or the negative thought process that we hold, and we need to attend and adjust them or change them. So that is, and this is something that we are going to learn. So research shows that a lot of what resilience comes from how we uh, interpret the events that happen in our life. Uh, you know, if adversity or negative experience by itself is not what causes suffering, but it is how we think about it or how we evaluate the event that is what causes the suffering. Suppose you have a tendency to personalize things. You know, if you tell yourself, so suppose, for example, uh, have uh, you have a conflict in a relationship, and you are sort of failing at maintaining your relationship, and uh, and you tell yourself that, okay, I'm responsible for this failed relationship. uh, you are attributing all the fault to your own selves. Or suppose if you are thinking that, okay, this failure in this relationship is permanent. I can't do anything much about it, and I can't. Uh, this relationship is all lost. So if you think that it's permanent, or if you think that uh, whatever this uh, experience that you're going through, this failure that you're going through, is pervasive, as in it is that if I fail at this one relationship, I'm a total failure in all the aspects of my relationships or all the aspects of my life. If you interpret it in that sense, then you are holding a pessimistic outlook towards the circumstances or events. What we uh, what we really need to do in order to cultivate resilience is to hold an optimistic outlook, which means that uh, you know uh, not not just taking uh, not personalizing things, but also seeing things realistically. That is, noticing that there are external factors that, or there is other person who is there in the relationship, uh, and some part is they are also responsible to some extent. So it's not that all I am responsible for the failed relationship, and that whatever this experience that we are going through is not permanent. That we can mend it, and then we can work uh, hard at maintaining our relationship. We can do certain things to enhance our relationship. That this failure is not permanent, and if we think that uh, failing at this one relationship doesn't mean that I'm failing at all the other relationships. Holding this outlook, optimistic outlook, actually builds resilience. uh, so further, let's try to look at how our brain is designed. So in prehistoric times, our ancestors were faced with threats at each and every corner. There were predators who were out to get them. There was a lot of aggression within the tribe, so they had to constantly scan for threats in the environment. So which as a result, our brain is wired to look for negative experiences. Uh, and uh, if suppose there were 10 good things that happen in a day, uh, and one bad thing that happened, we have a tendency to ruminate uh, over the one bad thing that happened. To we cannot that one thing bad thing that happened won't just leave our mind, and we'll constantly keep thinking about it. So this is what psychologists call a negativity bias. And yes, this way of this the way the brain is designed was helpful in that time to in order to survive. But now it's more like sort of a liability, that we only focus on negative experiences and we don't know how to, be positive. So in order to deal with negativity bias, what we really need to do is look for positive exceptions. What I mean by that is, suppose we are feeling sad and depressed throughout the day, and you know, we can ask ourselves, has there been any time where when I have not felt depressed? Try to really uh, think hard as to, has there been any time where there has been some positive experience. It can be as small as having a cup of coffee, or having a good bath. It those or so this experience, these small experiences, we need to sort of learn to train. We need to learn to train our mind to also notice that small experience, small positive experiences that happen in our life. uh, it could even be as small as having a good conversation with a friend. We can't go in a day. There is at least one time when we have a good conversation with a person. So learning to notice those experiences. Secondly, what we need to do is practice gratitude. And research shows that gratitude not only helps us overcome stress, but it also uh, not only helps us overcome stress, it also helps us with overcoming trauma. And even if you're going through adverse time, the worst time in your life, even then there is something or the other you can be thankful for, right? You can be thankful for even the very fact that you are breathing, you are alive, you are able to experience this world with your five senses. And that uh, so these small things we need to learn to cultivate gratitude, and notice these uh, things that we have. And this is something that will help us build a strong mind. And so we don't wait for an adversity to strike in order to cultivate gratitude or to be thankful. We do it on day-to-day basis. And there is this really good app on Play Store. One of our wellness counselor, Tarasha, who did a webinar on gratitude, actually suggested it, and it's a really good app. I have personally tried it, and it has the same icon that I've put here, and it gives you like 7 days, 14 days challenges, which really helps you notice the small things that small good things that are there in our life, and sort of help us to shift our attention from only focusing on negative experiences to focusing on positive experiences. Hmm. So, gratitude and noticing positive experiences. This is definitely needed. Another thing that we need is perseverance. So we always have our plans, but in reality, the universe has a different plan for us. But full of ups and downs. So so we'll fall down many times as we go through the ups and downs of our life. And in order to get up and to keep walking, we need this never give up attitude, which we call as perseverance. And in order to cultivate perseverance, what we need is to learn to have a growth mindset. Now, what is a growth mindset? So, this is the concept it is coined by researcher Carol Drake. She says that there are two types of people in the world. There are people who believe that their abilities, their intelligence is fixed. It's carved in stone. You are born with it. There's nothing much you can do about your abilities. You have your talents from birth, and you will die with those same abilities that you were born with. And holding such a fixed attitude, fixed mindset, what it does is it actually doesn't allow you to be flexible, and it doesn't allow you to adapt. Okay, So that's where these people, this fixed mindset people, have a tendency to develop depression, and they avoid challenges, they avoid conflicts, uh, uh, because if your abilities are limited, then and there is no room for you to change or adapt, then then uh, uh, and the nature of adversity is that you need to adapt, you need to change the way of thinking, you need to change the way of doing things. So holding a fixed mindset won't really help you get there. So what we really need to do is hold a growth mindset. So what is growth mindset? So growth mindset is believing that your abilities are flexible, that you can cultivate your abilities. You can through your hard work and through your efforts, you can actually build your abilities. And holding such a mindset gives you a strength to face challenges, to face uh, the failure. These people see failure and challenges as an opportunity to grow, as something challenges as challenges and failures. You can learn from those failures, and you can grow from them. And the research in neuroplasticity actually supports this. Our brain can actually grows with experience. So before, what the science used to believe that our brain uh, develops at till adults and adulthood, and after that it stops forming new connections or neurons. But the current understanding is that our our brain keeps on uh, growing in terms of building new connections. So even if you are at 81, you can still learn and change the way your brain is wired. So if you have gone through a traumatic incident or adversity, it's not a life sentence. Okay, so you can learn to rewire your brain, by engaging in positive experiences, engaging in positive relationships, and by through counseling. So uh, uh, and lastly, uh, so you are not alone, okay, and in this adversity. We have uh, people in our surrounding actually uh, who can actually support us. And research shows that having good relationships, uh, um, having good positive relationships, secure relationships, actually builds resilience. So when you are going through tough time, have reaching out, asking for help, and seeking people who can offer you that listening ear uh, is uh, is something that can help you uh, deal with the adverse experience and trauma. And so this is what is basically what I mean by attach and reach out. And it's not, if we don't have those supportive relationships within our family, we can look for those kind of supportive relationships at our workplace, or at our in our faith group. uh, and having this relationship will actually help you help having those relationship and using them in times of the adversity will help us cope through the difficult experience that we go through. So now we are going to lighten things up a bit. I'm going to play a video. Uh,
do something that you shouldn't do, say something dumb, and be real nasty to yourself, mean to the people you love. Don't so sad. Things are fine. It's okay. Promise you all that life is beautiful. We just need some reminders, because we forget, like birds and bees, summer cold trees, cloud watching, and cotton candy. Nice texts from friends that we weren't expecting, and catching your reflection. God damn, you're sexy. Words that feel like they read your mind. Hot chocolate, cappuccinos, lemonade, and wine. Smell of new books and laundry at the dryer, and looking at you just as you are. So sad. It's okay. I promise you all. Life is beautiful. You just need some
was it audible? Uh, I, I, was it audible?
No, Samir, it was not very audible.
I'll,
But
I'll
if
play
you
it.
can,
I'll
yes,
play it again.
yes, you could
And
do that
I'll
and also share the link,
yes,
perhaps.
yes, yes.
Thank you.
Sometimes you get just a little bit sad, and that's okay. Sometimes it's fine. But when you're sad just a little too long, you feel as if it's time to do something that you shouldn't do, or say something really dumb, and be real nasty to yourself, and mean to the people you love. Don't be so sad. Things are fine, it's okay. I promise you all that life is beautiful. We just need some reminders, because we're forgetful, like birds and bees, and summer cold trees, cloud watching and cotton candy. Nice texts from friends that we weren't expecting, and catching your reflection. God damn, you're sexy. Movies that feel like they read your mind. Hot chocolate, cappuccinos, lemonade, and wine. The smell of new books and laundry at the dryer, and locking eyes with that cutie just as you walk by her or him. be so sad. Things are fine, it's okay. I promise you all that life is beautiful. You just need some reminders because you're forgetful.
Sorry about the disturbance in the video. I'll post it on the, the group. So basically, the video uh, talks about that it says that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be a little sad. And if if you're feeling too sad, then connect and reach out, seek support. Uh, uh, when we are going through tough time, it is basically we have an tendency to be nasty towards ourselves. So instead of being nasty, be self-compassionate towards yourself. And notice the small positive things that happen in your life, in video that Denis Prasad says, the smell of the new books, or text to the friends, or a lemonade, or a wine. So enjoy those small positive experiences that notice and enjoy those positive experiences. So, lastly, I want to ask you the same question that I asked before. Are we really the victims of reality, having no choice and control over our suffering? Or are we the conscious creators of our life, having some degree of choice and control over our suffering? And I want to leave you with this question. Uh, so, thank you. May you all be happy and peaceful. So now we are open to the Q&A.
Thank you, Samir. That session was. Thank you for doing this session for us. It was wonderful. If there is anyone who would like to ask any questions, you can post it into the chat box now. We are running on time. If there's any questions, just a few we might be able to take. We've also sent the feedback link, so we request you to please fill in your feedback. The link will be available for 48 hours. If you have any problems with the link, you can contact us at our email address or just send us a message in the WhatsApp group. You can message any of the admins there. Okay. I don't see any questions here. I'll invite Shrishti now to give us the vote of thanks, please.
A duration of 1 hour seems to be too short for a wide topic like resilience. And yet, Samir, you have done a commendable job of condensing the information in relatable and actionable terms. Thank you for the wonderful session. We hope to have many more such sessions with you, with hopefully more time on our hands. We also would like to thank the director of Nirmala Institute, Dr. Rita Page, and our principal, Dr. Delian Tao, for encouragement and the freedom they have given us to take up such interactive projects. We would like to thank the MA Wellness Counseling faculty for their initiative in coordinating for us innovative and relevant topics in the form of these webinars. And last but not the least, we thank you all for your participation. It is, after all, what drives us to bring you more and more such programs. Thank you all.
Thank you once again, everybody. Have a good night and stay safe. Goodbye.